Okay guys, we're back at it again. Here we go. Moving right along, intro to SolidWorks. We have inserted this sketch here and we are going to start tracing it now. First thing I want to do is get out a center line. So it's right here in the sketch tab. Underneath the line tool, we're going to go to center line and I'm going to pick the plane I want to draw it on. It'll be the same plane that my sketch is on, front plane. And I'm just going to lay down a nice solid center line. Okay, there we go. Now what I want to do, I'm starting to see that I've got kind of a flat line here, and then I've got this line work I want to draw that's going to come down here. I know that I'm going to mirror it across here, so I want it to be tangent here. So I want to use that tangency trick we went over in class recently. I'm going to put a nice straight line right here and drop the tool and take another straight line and put it here, probably. Yeah, about like that. There we go. Now I'm going to use the spline tool to connect these two lines, and then we're going to go tangent to each one. Just hitting escape to drop that as I move forward. So I'll select with that line in the middle, and then I'll hold down Control, click on the second line, and I'll hit this button here, circle with a line across it, make tangent. And then I'm going to go here, click this middle line again, and I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to click this line, and I'm just going to go make tangent. And it doesn't really change the line too much, but what it does do is it adds this little tangency sketch relation. And that's the confirmation for you that it's worked and that your line is tangent. So now that that's done, I can drag this around and try to make this line as attractive as possible. And it's looking like I'm going to need to zoom in on this thing. So, excuse me while I just futz around with this thing and get it right. And I'm not too worried about it, at least about moving around any of these pieces of the line here, because I know that these sketch relations are holding these ends here and here tangent. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to say I like that. And now that that's done, I can just get rid of these lines that I used to create tangency. Okay. So that is that, and I'm feeling good. And then the next move is to use this tool that we've used before, Mirror Entities. Click on Mirror Entities, and it's going to ask us which entity we'd like to mirror, and it's going to be this guy. And where do we want to mirror it, or what do we want to mirror about? It'll be this one. And you can see that SolidWorks, I don't know if this is something to do with my processor or what, but the mirrored preview looks all scratchy and chunky and not fluid at all. But then once I hit that green checkbox up here, it smooths it right out. It's got all the same CVs and everything that I need. So there you go. Okay, so that mirror worked fine, and I am really happy with it. But while I have this sketch open, I just want to take this mirror and I want to mirror it over to the other side. Okay, so I purposefully placed my drawing, my sketch drawing, right here in the origin, because I knew that I would want to do a mirror. So this is what I was talking about when I did that. I'm going to grab my line tool and just go right off the center, the origin there. Plop down a nice line. I'll do a right click on the line and go change it to construction geometry. And then I will go to Mirror Entities again, and I will enter these two lines that I just mirrored. I'll say mirror about this center line, and I'll do green checkbox, and there you go. And so I'm very happy with that. Let's just see here. If I want to, I can now adjust these two lines a little bit, and it will adjust them both because of that mirror. And so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Okay. And I'll exit the sketch. And there we go. It's easier to see the sketch if it's active. So now you can start to see this sketch that I did on paper that we scanned into the computer It's a pretty bad sketch. It didn't really look too good. But once we take the inspiration from it, throw it into SolidWorks, now we've got some pretty good looking line work based off of it. And that line work doesn't exactly line up to the sketch that we did, but what we did is we took our drawing and it was able to get us to this point. So I just wanted to point that out, that sometimes a little collaboration with the computer and your sketch pad is a good way to get into a pretty good place as far as design goes. So exit out of that sketch, and at this point I could almost just hide this drawing here because I don't need it anymore. I've gotten everything I need out of it. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to go to this sketch, do a right click, and I'm going to go to hide. Okay, so there we go. So everything is moving right along. The next thing to do is going to be to make the band of our bracelet. So let's get into that. Okay, I am going to just take a look at a few things here. Zoom out, drop into 3D. I'm going to need to draw the profile of my band on one of these planes. And so I know that this sketch here is going to be an extruded cut, and it's going to go forward and backward and cut through a band. So I want my band to circle like this, to orbit around this sketch. So looking at my planes, it looks like the right plane is going to be the one that I want to draw that profile on. And so let's go ahead and go to that. I'm going to go here, right click on my right plane and go sketch. And I'm going to want to look normal too. So it's Control 8 to look at that right plane. Zoom out a little bit. I know that I want my profile to be somewhat like an oval, or we'll just say exactly like an oval. I'll grab the circle tool. Oh, I have circle. I need oval tool. There's oval. Draw out the size of my oval. It's going to be like that. And then I'll hit escape to drop the tool. Now I have to do a little bit of thinking here at this point as well, and think, well, this origin is going to be my center of rotation, my axis of rotation. So from here to here is going to be halfway of the radius of my entire bracelet. So I'm going to just take my calipers now, and I'm going to measure my hand when it's all crumpled up to try to define what's the minimum size thing I can fit over my hand onto my wrist. See, so I'm using my body as a guide here, my hand. And I don't know if it's embarrassing or not, but it looks like my hand is about 80 millimeters across. So there we go. 80 millimeters is going to be the distance from one side of the band to the other, so that I know half of it would be 40. So the way to do that is I just did something. Excuse me, undo. I'll get a smart dimension out. I'll click on, I'll click on the edge of this, because this is going to be the edge of the inside of my bracelet, and then the origin, and I'm going to make that 40 millimeters. It's going to slide it right over to 40 millimeters. Okay, good news. What is going to be the height or depth of my bracelet off of my hand? Probably going to be about, let's say 8 or 9 millimeters. So still using my smart dimension tool, I will go ahead. Let's just go 6. How about, what did I say, 8 or 9? 8. Let's see what 8 looks like. Okay, fine. 8 it is. All right, and let's get the height of our bracelet down. Right now it's 22. What did we say we wanted it to be? 12. Remember that rectangle that we drew at the start? It was 12 by 12, wasn't it? Okay, so 12 by 12. Suddenly the proportions here don't make sense, so I'll just change that thickness to 8. 6. I'm going to even drop it down to 5, 5. Because I want to have a cool looking oval, and that previous one definitely was not. Okay, good. Happy day. We're all good to go. Exit this sketch, and now we are ready to revolve this puppy. Go here to my Features tab, Revolved Boss Base. We're going to define an axis, a revolution. We could do a couple things. We could use the line work we used on this original sketch, that would work. We can also use one of the axes that we created in that template that we made. So I'll do that, axis 2. There it is. All right, that's going to be our band. So I'll just hit the green checkbox because I am happy with that. And we have suddenly made a Livestrong bracelet. It's just as easy as that, folks. Okay. Next thing we're going to do in our next tutorial is we are going to fire off an extruded cut using these two lines, and we're going to cut into this band. Then we are going to create a circular pattern of that cut that goes all the way around, and we're going to do a bunch more work to get this thing looking really good. I want to keep each one of these tutorials at a fairly manageable length so that you can follow along. So why don't you take the work we've done in this one and recreate it yourself with a design of your own, and then catch up with us in our next tutorial where I'm going to start getting to all the rest of that stuff I just said. All right? Okay, good. Let's keep going.